There comes a moment in every person's life when everything feels like it's falling apart, when the plans you believed in collapse, when the people you trusted walk away, when the goals you chase suddenly feel impossible. In that moment, it's easy to believe the story is over. But what if that moment is not the end? What if that moment is actually the beginning of the greatest comeback of your life? History is full of people who were counted out. People who were told they weren't good enough, smart enough, strong enough, talented enough. People who failed publicly, painfully, and repeatedly. Yet somehow they rose again. Stronger, sharper, unstoppable. The truth is, comebacks are not built in moments of comfort. They are built in moments of chaos. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is rebuilding their life from zero. Someone is starting again after losing everything. Someone is turning their pain into purpose. And the only difference between the people who stay down and the people who rise again is a decision. A decision that says, this is not how my story ends. Maybe life knocked you down. Maybe you trusted the wrong people. Maybe you wasted years chasing the wrong dream. Maybe you failed when everyone was watching. But failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the raw material of success. Think about it. Every great comeback begins with a fall. Every powerful story begins with struggle. Every champion was once the person nobody believed in. Right now, you might feel behind. You might feel lost. You might feel like everyone else is winning while you're stuck trying to figure things out. But the truth is, nobody talks about the silent seasons. The nights when someone stays awake questioning everything. The mornings when motivation is nowhere to be found. The days when progress feels invisible. Those are the seasons where comebacks are born. Because a comeback is not one big moment. It's thousands of small decisions made when nobody is watching. It's waking up early when you don't feel like it. It's working on yourself when the world doubts you. It's continuing forward when every voice around you says quit. Most people quit too early, not because they aren't capable, but because they underestimate how long success actually takes. The world celebrates the victory, but ignores the years of struggle behind it. When you see someone succeed, you see the highlight. You don't see the setbacks, the sleepless nights, the moments of doubt. But those moments are exactly where strength is built. Right now, your struggles might feel like proof that you're failing. But what if they're actually preparing you? What if every disappointment is teaching you something you couldn't learn any other way? Because pain has a strange way of sharpening people. When you lose something important, you start seeing life differently. Your priorities change. Your focus becomes clearer. You stop chasing approval. You stop wasting time. You start building something real. And that's the beginning of a comeback. A real comeback starts when you take full responsibility for your life. Not blaming the past. Not blaming other people. Not blaming circumstances. Just one powerful statement. From this moment forward, my life is my responsibility. That statement is powerful because it gives you control again. You can't change yesterday, but you control today. You control your habits. You control your mindset. You control the actions you take right now. Every comeback starts with rebuilding the basics. Discipline, focus, consistency, not motivation. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is what carries people through the hard days. If you want the biggest comeback of your life, you have to accept something most people avoid. The process will be uncomfortable. You will have days when progress feels slow. You will have moments when doubt creeps back in. You will have times when quitting feels easier than continuing. But that's the price of transformation. The person who achieves a comeback is not the same person who experienced a failure. They grow. They evolve. They become stronger mentally, emotionally, and physically. And that growth only happens through challenge. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask a different question. What is this teaching me? Because every challenge carries a lesson. Maybe it's teaching patience. Maybe it's teaching discipline. Maybe it's teaching you who you can trust and who you can't. But the people who create legendary comebacks use those lessons as fuel. They take their pain and turn it into drive. They remember the people who doubted them. They remember the moments they felt invisible. They remember every setback. Not to stay bitter, but to stay hungry. Hunger is powerful. When someone becomes hungry enough to change their life, Excuses disappear. They stop waiting for perfect conditions. They stop looking for shortcuts. They start showing up every single day. That's the moment everything begins to shift. Because success doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from daily improvement. One better decision today. One extra hour of effort. One more step forward. Those small steps compound over time. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. And one day people look at you and say, "You're lucky," but they didn't see the grind. They didn't see the sacrifices. They didn't see the lonely hours spent rebuilding your life piece by piece. They only see the result. That's the beauty of a comeback. It's not about proving people wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you were stronger than your circumstances. And the most powerful part of any comeback is this: it's never too late. It doesn't matter if you're starting at 20, 30, 40, or even later. Your past does not define your future. Your mistakes do not define your potential. The only thing that defines your future is what you decide to do next. So if life knocked you down, good, because now you have a choice. You can stay down, or you can rise. You can accept the story others wrote for you, or you can write a new chapter. A chapter about resilience. A chapter about growth. A chapter about the biggest comeback of your life. And maybe one day someone will hear your story and realize something powerful. The moment everything fell apart was actually the moment everything began. Most people think a comeback begins when everything suddenly starts going right again, when the money returns, when the opportunities appear, when people start believing in you again. But the truth is far different. A real comeback begins in silence. It begins in the quiet mornings when nobody is watching, in the moments when you're rebuilding your life piece by piece, without applause, without recognition, and without anyone believing it will actually work. This is the phase where most people give up, because rebuilding your life is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not fast. It's slow. It's repetitive. It's uncomfortable. But this stage is where the strongest people are built. When everything falls apart, something powerful happens. You're forced to see reality clearly. You start to recognize the habits that held you back, the distractions that wasted your time, the people who didn't truly support your growth. And for the first time, you realize something important. If you want a different life, you must become a different person. Your comeback is not just about getting back what you lost. It's about becoming someone stronger than the person you were before. Think about it. If you return with the same mindset, the same habits, and the same discipline you had before, you will eventually end up in the same place again. Real comebacks require transformation. And transformation starts with how you think. Your mindset is the foundation of everything you build. If you believe your life is over, you will stop trying. If you believe you are unlucky, you will stop taking risks. If you believe your failure defines you, you will never move forward. But if you start believing something different, everything changes. What if your struggles are not punishment? What if they are preparation? The hardest moments in life often create the strongest people. Pressure creates diamonds. Adversity creates resilience. And setbacks create wisdom. The truth is, the person who has never struggled will never develop the strength required for greatness. Because comfort does not create champions. Challenges do. When life becomes difficult, most people search for escape. They distract themselves. They complain. They wait for someone to rescue them. But the people who achieve powerful comebacks do something different. They lean into the challenge. They treat their pain like training. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow stronger. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every difficult day becomes proof that they're still moving forward. And that mindset changes everything. Because once you stop seeing obstacles as enemies, they become tools. Tools that sharpen your discipline. Tools that strengthen your focus. Tools that prepare you for the life you are trying to build. But here's the part nobody likes to talk about. The road to a comeback can feel lonely. When you start rebuilding your life, not everyone will understand your journey. Some people will doubt you. Some people will laugh at your goals. Some people will remind you of your past mistakes. And some people will quietly expect you to fail again. That's why belief becomes your greatest weapon. Not belief from others. Belief in yourself. You must become the person who believes in your future, even when there is no evidence yet. That kind of belief is rare. But it's also what separates people who transform their lives from people who stay stuck in the same cycle. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. For weeks, nothing appears above the surface. To someone watching, it looks like nothing is happening. But underneath the soil, the roots are growing. Strength is building where nobody can see it. Your comeback works the same way. At first, the progress is invisible. You wake up early. You start working harder. You begin learning new skills. You improve your habits. But the outside world might not notice yet. That's where patience becomes critical. Most people quit during this stage because they expect immediate results. But meaningful change takes time. The strongest buildings in the world are built on deep foundations, and the strongest comebacks are built the same way, slowly, patiently, consistently, day by day. You are building a new version of yourself, a more disciplined version, a more focused version, a more resilient version, and eventually, the results begin to show. Opportunities appear. Confidence grows. Your mindset becomes stronger. The same challenges that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. That's when you realize something powerful. The comeback was never just about success. It was about growth. Because success without growth is fragile. But growth creates unshakable strength. When you grow through struggle, you develop something most people never experience. Mental toughness. Mental toughness means continuing when you're tired. It means staying disciplined when motivation disappears. It means believing in your future, even when the present looks uncertain. And once you develop that mindset, something incredible happens. You stop fearing failure. You start understanding it. Failure becomes feedback, a signal telling you what needs improvement. Instead of quitting, you adjust. Instead of doubting yourself, you adapt. And that adaptability makes you unstoppable. Because the person who refuses to quit will always outlast the person who relies only on motivation. Motivation fades. Excitement fades. But discipline builds momentum. Momentum is powerful. When small improvements happen every day, they begin to compound. 1% better today. 1% stronger tomorrow. 1% more focused the next day. At first, it feels small. But over time, those small improvements create massive transformation. That's how comebacks truly happen. Not through one heroic moment, but through thousands of small victories. Choosing growth over comfort. Choosing discipline over distraction. Choosing progress over excuses. And eventually, the world begins to notice something different about you. Your energy changes. Your confidence grows. Your presence becomes stronger. Because you are no longer the person who is defeated by circumstances. You are the person who used those circumstances to rebuild yourself. And once someone develops that level of resilience, there's almost nothing that can stop them. Because the strongest people are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who learn how to rise again, again, and again, and again. And this is where the comeback begins to accelerate. There comes a point during every comeback when something inside you begins to shift. At first, the journey feels heavy. Every step requires effort. Every day feels like a battle between who you used to be and who you're trying to become. But if you stay consistent long enough, something powerful happens. You start to realize you're no longer the same person. The things that once distracted you don't have the same power anymore. The excuses that once felt convincing now sound weak. The habits that once held you back begin to disappear. This is the moment when growth becomes visible, not just to the world, but to you. Because the truth about transformation is this. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly through repetition. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort. Every day you choose progress over excuses. Every night you remind yourself why you started. Those small decisions slowly reshape your identity. And identity is everything. If you see yourself as someone who always quits, you will quit. If you see yourself as someone who struggles but keeps going, you will keep going. Your comeback is not built by changing your circumstances first. It's built by changing how you see yourself. When you begin to view yourself as a disciplined, focused, and resilient person, your actions naturally follow that belief. That's why confidence is not something you wait for. Confidence is something you build. You build it by keeping promises to yourself. When you say you're going to wake up early, and you do it, you build confidence. When you say you're going to work on your goals, even when you're tired, and you follow through, you build confidence. When you refuse to quit during difficult moments, you build trust in yourself. And over time, that trust becomes unbreakable. Most people are not lacking talent. They are lacking belief in their own ability to endure. They underestimate how strong they can become if they simply refuse to stop. Because the human mind is incredibly powerful. When you commit to growth, your mind begins adapting to new challenges. What once felt impossible becomes manageable. What once felt overwhelming becomes routine. That's the power of persistence. But persistence requires something deeper than motivation. It requires purpose. You must know why your comeback matters. Maybe it's about proving something to yourself. Maybe it's about creating a better future for your family. Maybe it's about escaping a life you know you were never meant to live. Whatever your reason is, hold on to it, because purpose gives meaning to the struggle. Without purpose, pain feels pointless. With purpose, pain becomes fuel. Every early morning becomes an investment. Every difficult day becomes a step forward. Every sacrifice becomes part of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is the life you're building. Think about the version of yourself that exists in the future. The stronger version, the disciplined version, the confident version. That person is not created by luck. That person is created by the daily choices you make right now. The workouts you complete, the skills you learn, the habits you build. Each one is shaping the person you are becoming. And here's something important to remember. During a comeback, progress will not always be obvious. Some days you will feel unstoppable. Other days you will feel exhausted and uncertain. That's normal. Growth is not a straight line. It's messy. It's unpredictable. It's challenging. But as long as you keep moving forward, you are still winning. Because the only true failure is quitting. Quitting guarantees that nothing changes. But persistence guarantees growth. Even when the results take time, the person you are becoming is already evolving. Stronger, wiser, more disciplined. And those qualities are far more valuable than temporary success. Because once you develop them, they stay with you for life. That's why the greatest comebacks are not about revenge. They're about transformation. You're not trying to prove people wrong. You're proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. And that realization changes everything. Because when someone truly understands their own potential, fear loses its grip. They stop playing small. They stop waiting for permission. They stop doubting every step forward. Instead, they start moving with purpose, with confidence, with determination. And suddenly the dream that once felt impossible begins to feel achievable. Not because the journey became easier, but because you became stronger. The obstacles didn't disappear. You just learned how to overcome them. That is the true power of a comeback. It's the moment when your past stops controlling your future. It's the moment when your struggles become your strength. It's the moment when you realize something incredibly powerful. Everything you went through was not the end of your story. It was a training ground for the person you are becoming. And if you keep pushing forward, if you keep growing, if you keep believing in the process, then the comeback you are building right now will eventually become the story that inspires someone else to rise. Every great comeback reaches a moment where the past and the future stand face to face. The past reminds you of the failures, the mistakes, the times you fell short. It whispers that maybe you're not ready, maybe you're not strong enough, maybe you should settle for less. But the future tells a different story. The future shows you the person you've been fighting to become. The disciplined version of you, the focused version, the resilient version that refused to quit when things were hard. And in this moment, you realize something powerful. You are not the same person who started this journey. The pain you experienced didn't break you. It built you. The struggles you faced didn't stop you. They sharpened you. Every setback, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt was shaping the mindset you now carry. Because comebacks are not about returning to who you used to be. They are about becoming someone stronger than you ever were before. Think about the distance you've already traveled, the habits you changed, the discipline you built, the mindset you developed, all of it required courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite it. That's what makes a comeback powerful. Not the applause at the end, not the recognition from others, but the internal victory of knowing you refused to stay down. You chose growth. You chose resilience. You chose to fight for a better version of yourself when quitting would have been easier. And that decision changes everything. Because once someone proves to themselves that they can rise again, a new level of confidence appears. A quiet confidence. Not loud, not arrogant, but unshakable. It's the confidence of someone who has faced their lowest moments and kept going anyway. The confidence of someone who understands that failure is not final. The confidence of someone who now knows their strength. From this point forward, life will still bring challenges. There will still be obstacles. There will still be difficult days. But now you know something you didn't know before. You know how to rebuild. You know how to adapt. You know how to rise. And that knowledge makes you dangerous in the best possible way. Because the person who is not afraid of falling is the person capable of achieving extraordinary things. So as you move forward, remember this. Your comeback is not just a moment. It's a mindset that says no matter what happens, you'll always find a way to grow stronger. A mindset that refuses to let circumstances define your future. A mindset that understands something most people never learn, that the darkest moments of your life can become the foundation of your greatest victories. One day people may look at your success and think it happened overnight. They will see the results. They will see the confidence. They will see the strength. But they will never fully understand the journey that built it. The early mornings, the discipline, the persistence when nobody believed in you. And that's okay, because the comeback was never about proving anything to them. It was about proving something to yourself. That you are stronger than your past. That you are capable of growth. That you can turn setbacks into strength and pain into purpose. So keep moving forward. Keep building. Keep believing. Because the comeback you started is not just changing your life. It's becoming a story that proves one powerful truth. No matter how far someone falls, they always have the power to rise again.